All right, so crypto. Everyone's talking about it. But how much do we really understand?
Right. It can feel like this whole other world,
Hmm.
fortunes made overnight, big crashes.
And it seems like everyone's either getting rich or getting scammed.
Yeah, and honestly, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. That's why we're doing this deep dive.
Exactly. We're going beyond the headlines
hmm
to figure out not just how crypto works.
But WHY, it's got such a hold on people, even with all the risks.
And we've got some interesting sources to guide us today.
We do. First up, we've got this U.S. government investor alert, straight from the source, warning people about crypto scams.
So, like official red flags to watch out for.
Exactly. And then on the flip side, we've got this CNBC article about Trump.
Trump and crypto.
Oh, yeah, it's a thing. This article talks about all the promises he made about crypto during the election. Some pretty bold stuff.
So, we've got danger on one hand and potential riches on the other.
Pretty much. It really captures the whole crypto roller coaster. Speaking of which, let's talk about volatility.
Okay, because crypto is famous for its wild price swings.
Yeah.
Remember when Bitcoin hit like $75,000?
Yeah, election night 2024, everyone was talking about it. New all-time high, made headlines everywhere.
But then, didn't it crash pretty soon after?
It did, and that's exactly what we're talking about. Crypto
Huh.
is like a financial roller coaster. Big highs, big lows.
Exciting, but kind of makes you want to puke at the same time.
Yeah.
So what causes these crazy swings?
Well, there's a bunch of factors, but one big one is it's still a relatively small market compared to, say, the stock market. So even small things can cause huge ripples.
Small things like what?
Like a single tweet from Elon Musk, a regulatory announcement, even just a wave of media hype.
So it's super sensitive.
Totally. Think of it like,
A butterfly flapping its wings and causing a hurricane.
yeah, something like that.
So news and hype play a role. But what about the actual mechanics of crypto itself? Does that affect the volatility?
Definitely. You can't forget about supply and demand. Take Bitcoin. There's a limited supply, right?
No.
Only 21 million coins will ever exist.
So when demand goes up.
Price goes up, but if demand drops, prices plummet.
Okay, so we've got external factors like news and social media trends, and then the internal mechanics of supply and demand, all interacting to create this.
This wild, unpredictable ride. And here's the thing. That volatility, that's actually part of the appeal.
Wait, really? People are drawn to the risk.
In a way, yeah. It's the potential for those huge gains, like getting in early on Bitcoin and becoming a millionaire, that kind of story.
Ah, the FOMO, fear of missing out.
Exactly. You see others making money, and you don't want to be left behind. Especially these days when traditional paths to wealth seem, well, out of reach for a lot of people.
So crypto is like this new frontier. High risk, but potentially high reward.
Exactly. But that same allure, that desire to get rich quick, is what makes people vulnerable.
Of scams.
Big time. And that's where that investor alert comes in. Because unfortunately, there's a whole dark side to this.
So alongside the legitimate investors, we have
The scammers, the ones preying on that FOMO, exploiting it for their own gain. And they're getting really good at it.
Okay, so this is where it gets crucial to understand not just the incentives for investors,
But the incentives for the scammers, too.
because once you understand what's motivating both sides.
You're way better equipped to spot the red flags. Protect yourself. Avoid getting caught in a trap.
All right, so let's talk about those red flags. What are some of the things we should be watching out for?
Well, this investor alert, it outlines 5 common tactics that scammers use. And they're getting more and more sophisticated all the time. Especially with AI and deepfakes, it's getting really hard to tell what's real and what's not.
Okay, so break it down for us. What's the first thing we got to watch out for?
They call it pig butchering. It's a horrible term, but it basically means building a relationship with you, gaining your trust.
Oh, so like the long con.
Exactly. They might connect with you on social media, comment on your posts, act super friendly, maybe even pretend to share your interests.
Just to lull you into a false sense of security.
Exactly. And then once they think you trust them, that's when they strike. They'll start dangling these supposed insider tips about amazing crypto investments.
Guaranteed to make you a fortune, right?
Of course. And they might even direct you to fake websites or apps that look incredibly real, making you feel like you're in on some exclusive opportunity, part of a special club.
And that's how they get you.
Yep. They play on that FOMO, that desire to get in early before everyone else.
And then, poof, they're gone with your money.
Exactly. So be careful who you trust online. Don't fall for promises that sound too good to be true.
Okay, so red flag number 1. Beware of overly friendly strangers bearing gifts. What's the next tactic?
This one plays on all the hype around new tech, especially AI.
Oh yeah, AI is everywhere these days.
Right. And scammers know that people are looking for the next big thing, so they'll create these elaborate schemes around AI-powered crypto projects.
Promising to revolutionize the world and make you rich overnight.
Exactly. They'll throw around all the buzzwords, machine learning, neural networks, algorithmic trading.
Making it sound super sophisticated.
Right. Even experienced investors can fall for it. And often, these schemes are just variations of the classic pump and dump.
Pump and dump.
Yeah, where they artificially inflate the price of a worthless coin, create all this fake hype, and then, when enough people have bought in, they dump it all, leaving everyone else holding the bag.
So how can we tell if an AI crypto project is legit or just a scam?
Good question. I'd say be extra skeptical of anything that promises unrealistic returns.
Like 1,000% guaranteed profit in 1 week.
Yeah, stuff like that. Always do your research, verify information from multiple sources, and if it feels too good to be true, it probably is.
Right. If it smells like a rat, it probably is a rat. Okay, so red flag number 2. Beware of AI-powered hype trains. What's next on the list?
This one's really sneaky. Impersonating trusted sources.
Like who?
They might pretend to be a government agency like the SEC, or maybe your bank.
And they'll contact you out of the blue.
Exactly. They might send you an official-looking email or a message saying your account's been frozen, or that you need to pay a fee to avoid legal trouble.
Oh, wow, that's scary. And with deepfakes, they can even make it seem like you're talking to a real person on video or hearing their voice on a call.
Exactly. It's getting harder and harder to tell what's real. And they might even hack into a friend's social media account and start promoting a scam investment, making it seem like a legitimate recommendation from someone you trust.
So it's more important than ever to be cautious, even if a message seems to be coming from someone you know.
Absolutely. Always double check, verify their identity independently, and never share any sensitive information unless you're absolutely sure it's safe.
And no legitimate government agency or bank is going to demand payment in cryptocurrency, right?
Right. That's a huge red flag. So if someone's asking you to send Bitcoin or Ethereum to resolve an issue, be very suspicious.
Okay, so red flag number 3. Don't trust anyone who contacts you out of the blue demanding crypto payments, even if they seem legit.
Exactly. Now, the fourth tactic is a classic bait and switch. They'll lure you in with the promise of big profits, but
They
then...
hit you with unexpected fees.
Exactly. They might say you've made a huge profit, but then there are these sudden taxes or fees you have to pay before you can access your winnings.
Oh, I've heard of this one. Or they might claim your account's been hacked or frozen, and you need to pay a security deposit to unlock it.
Yep, all sorts of variations. But the goal is the same, to squeeze more money out of you.
They prey on your desperation, your desire to recoup your losses.
Exactly. And sadly, a lot of people end up losing even more money trying to chase those phantom profits.
So red flag number 4. Be wary of any unexpected fees or demands for additional payments.
Right. And the final tactic on our list involves meme coins. Those cryptocurrencies that go viral because of internet memes or social media trends.
Oh yeah, like Dogecoin or Shiba Inu.
Exactly. Now, while some people have made money off these meme coins, they're incredibly volatile, and they're often targets for those pump and dump schemes we talked about.
Because they don't have any real value, just hype.
Right. They're easy to manipulate, so be very careful. If someone's pushing a meme coin and promising you'll get rich quick,
Probably best to steer clear.
probably a good idea. Always look for investments with real underlying value, not just hype. Do your research. Look beyond the memes.
So, red flag number 5.
No,
Don't blindly follow the meme coin hype train.
precisely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The crypto world can be a dangerous place.
It can. But the good news is knowledge is power. The more you understand about these tactics, the better equipped you'll be to protect yourself.
Absolutely. So with all these warnings in mind, let's shift gears a bit and explore the other side of the crypto equation.
The political side.
Exactly. Remember that CNBC article about Trump's crypto promises during the election?
Oh yeah, some bold claims there.
He was really tapping into that same sense of excitement and potential we were just talking about, like crypto as this force for change.
And it seems like crypto is becoming more and more intertwined with politics and policy.
So let's dive into those promises and see what they might mean for the future of this rapidly evolving landscape.
Sounds good to me. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's talk Trump and crypto. One big promise that caught my eye was this whole strategic national crypto stockpile thing.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like, I don't know, sci-fi almost. The government hoarding Bitcoin, like digital Fort Knox or something.
Right. The article wasn't super clear on the details, but basically it sounds like the U.S. government would hold on to any Bitcoin they get from, like, criminal activity or whatever.
So instead of auctioning it off like they do now.
Exactly. Just
Yeah.
add it to this giant digital vault. Trump's argument was that this would prevent the government from, quote, selling its Bitcoin, which he made it sound like is a big no-no in the crypto world.
He even threw out that old crypto saying, never sell your Bitcoin. I remember
Yeah.
that was trending everywhere.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But while holding on to Bitcoin might sound good to some crypto folks, it also raises some questions, you know?
Like, what's the point of having all this crypto if you're never going to use it? Is it just a flex?
That's one way to look at it. But some people worry it could be a way to manipulate the market. I mean, if the government controls a huge chunk of Bitcoin, that gives them a lot of power, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like messing with supply and demand on a massive scale.
Exactly. So that's one promise with some potentially unintended consequences.
Okay, what else did Trump have on his crypto agenda?
Well, another one that got people talking was his vow to fire Gary Gensler.
Oh, yeah, the SEC chairman.
Mm.
He's a controversial figure in the crypto world.
Big time. Some people see him as this huge threat to crypto innovation. Others think he's just doing his job, you know, trying to regulate a volatile market.
Right, but Trump really played into that anti-regulation sentiment. Remember he said he'd fire Gensler on day one?
Oh, yeah, he made that very clear. Of
Yeah.
course, the president can't actually just fire the SEC chairman directly.
Right, there's a whole process. But he could definitely put pressure on him, maybe try to replace him with someone more crypto-friendly.
Exactly. So that was another promise that got a lot of attention. Less regulation could mean more freedom for the crypto industry, but also potentially more risk for investors.
Yeah, it's a classic balance, right? How much regulation is enough?
Yeah.
How much stifles innovation?
Exactly. It's a tough one. Okay, so moving on. Trump also promised to create this Bitcoin and Crypto Presidential Advisory Council.
Made up of people who, quote, love the industry.
Right, straight from the article. The idea was to make sure regulations were crafted by people who actually understand crypto.
So basically a bunch of crypto insiders whispering in the president's ear.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Which, you know, raises some concerns. Would this council really represent everyone's interests? Or just the interests of people who are heavily invested in crypto?
Yeah, there's definitely potential for conflict of interest there.
Right. It's important to have different perspectives when you're making policies that affect everyone, especially in a field as complex as crypto.
Absolutely. Okay, so what else? Oh, this one really stood out to me. Trump's goal of making sure all Bitcoin is mined in America.
Oh, yes. The Make America the Bitcoin mining capital of the world promise.
It definitely plays into that whole idea of economic competition, right? Bringing those mining jobs back to the U.S. But it also raises a lot of other issues, like Bitcoin mining uses a ton of energy.
A ton. So if you're going to bring all that mining activity to the U.S., you got to think about where that energy is coming from and what it's going to do to the environment.
Yeah, could the U.S. power grid even handle that? And what about all the carbon emissions?
Those are big questions. It shows how these issues, they're not just about economics and technology. They're tied to sustainability and responsible innovation, too.
Totally. Okay, last promise on our list, lower interest rates.
No, that one's a little trickier because the president doesn't actually control interest rates. That's the Federal Reserve's job.
Right, but Trump said he'd push for lower rates. And historically, lower rates have often led to
Higher crypto prices. Because when it's cheaper to borrow money, people tend to invest in riskier assets, like crypto.
It's
Right.
like a ripple effect. Lower interest rates, more money flowing around, and some of that money ends up in crypto, pushing prices up.
Exactly. But of course, if interest rates go up, crypto prices could take a hit.
So it's a gamble either way.
Pretty much. It shows how everything's connected, right?
Yeah.
The economy, monetary policy, the crypto market, they all influence each other.
So we've gone through this whole list of Trump's crypto promises,
Right.
from stockpiles to firing the SEC chair to mining Bitcoin in America. And honestly, it feels like we've just scratched the surface.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack here. And it's important to remember these were just campaign promises. Whether they would have actually happened and what the real impact would have been, well, we can only speculate.
Right. There's a big difference between saying you'll do something and actually doing it.
Totally. But even so, looking at these promises gives us a chance to understand how crypto is becoming this bigger and bigger part of the conversation, not just in the tech world, but in politics too.
It's like crypto is forcing everyone to pay attention.
It is. And as it keeps evolving, it's only going to have a bigger impact on our world in ways we probably can't even imagine yet.
So with all that in mind, let's take a step back. try to make sense of everything we've learned about crypto volatility, incentives, and this whole intersection of technology, finance, and politics.
Yeah, let's try to synthesize it all, give our listeners some key takeaways, and maybe leave them with some food for thought about the future of this crazy, exciting, sometimes terrifying world of crypto.
All right, so let's wrap things up. We started by diving into this whole crypto volatility thing. Prices going up and down like crazy,
Yeah, we talked about how even small things can make a huge impact on the market.
like a single tweet or a news story. It's crazy how sensitive it is.
And how that volatility, that's actually part of what draws people to crypto, the potential for those massive gains. But of course, the risk of huge losses, too.
Right, that's the double-edged sword.
Hmm.
And then we talked about how that same desire to get rich quick, that's what makes people vulnerable to scams.
Big time. We went through all those tactics scammers use, the pig butchering, the pump and dumps, the AI hype.
So many red flags to watch out for.
It's scary how sophisticated they're getting. But like we said, knowledge is power. The more you understand, the better you can protect yourself.
Exactly. And then we switched gears, talked about Trump's crypto promises.
Yeah, that was interesting. The crypto stockpile, firing the SEC chair, making America the Bitcoin mining capital.
Some pretty bold ideas.
Yeah, sure. And it really shows how crypto is becoming this bigger and bigger force in the world, not just in finance, but in politics, too.
So where does this leave us? What are the key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think one thing's clear. Crypto is here to stay. It's not going away anytime soon.
But it's still early days. It's a volatile market, full of opportunities, but also full of risks.
So approach it with caution. Don't get caught up in the hype. Do your research. Understand what you're investing in.
And never, ever invest more than you can afford to lose.
That's key, because there are a lot of people out there trying to take advantage of those who don't know what they're doing.
So be smart, be skeptical, and always remember, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Words to live by in the crypto world for sure.
Now, one last thought before we go. Yeah. Where do you think all this is headed? What's the future of crypto?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Will it revolutionize finance? Or will it crash and burn? Honestly, nobody knows for sure.
It's exciting, it's scary, it's unpredictable.
That's crypto for you. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be fascinating to watch it all unfold.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.